commend the Exchange Club for putting this thing together. And we also want to commend these candidates as well for coming in. It should be noted that all candidates were invited to come participate in the forum for various reasons, knowledge of ground rules, and then we're going to let them get started. We've got Leah Dupree here, who is candidate for Clerk of Court for Berkeley County. We have Bill Peagler, who's candidate for County Supervisor, currently the incumbent mayor in Moncks Corner. We have Brian Adams, who is a candidate for Sheriff in Berkeley County. We have over here Guerry Beckley, who's candidate for County Supervisor as well. Next to him is Matt Smoak, candidate for Sheriff. And last but not least, Dan Davis, our incumbent County Supervisor and candidate for re-election. Now, the format is going to be quite simple tonight, so it might not be a whole lot of fireworks. If you're here hoping for some of that, you might be a little bit disappointed. But what we're going to allow each candidate to do is take 2 minutes to introduce themselves, say whatever else is on their mind in the way of an introduction. And then we're going to ask one question to each of the candidates, and they'll have a 4-minute response. It's the same question to each candidate, and the question is simply this: if elected or re-elected to a term, 4-year term in your position, what do you intend to do to improve our community during your term of office? That's pretty simple and basic, and it will apply to every one of these candidates, no matter what position that they're running for. At the conclusion, after each one has had an opportunity to give a 4-minute response to that question, we will have an opportunity for each one to give a 2-minute closing at the end. Then Michael's going to close us out, and then we're going to ask the candidates, hopefully their schedules will allow, and yours as well, to hang around and mill around with you a little bit and do some one-on-one interaction. The only exception to that ground rule that I just laid out is this: if one of the candidates should challenge the record of one of the other candidates, we will give them a 1-minute opportunity to respond to that challenge, just out of fairness. Now, I've got Sal down here on the front row. He is our timekeeper, all right, lady and gentleman. And he's going to be keeping a close watch with this little timer down there that he's got. And it's a countdown timer. So here's what he's going to do. When you get to the point where you've got 20 seconds left in that time period, whether it's the 2-minute, the 4-minute, or the 1-minute, should be a challenge or a response to a challenge. He's going to hold up 2 fingers. That means 20 seconds, okay? As the clock continues to count down, he's going to go down to 1 finger when he hits the 10-second mark. When there's no seconds left, you get a fist, and the timer goes off, all right? And you should be able to hear. So 20 seconds should give you time to kind of wrap up whatever current thought it is that you're trying to state. Okay, so I think I got everything down in terms of the format. We're going to let Leah go first with her 2-minute opening, since she is the only candidate up here that does not have another candidate for her office here. So would you welcome Leah Dupree?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Cane Bay Exchange Club for inviting me tonight, and Sheriff Nash being the moderator. As he stated, my name is Leah Guerry Dupree, and I have 20 years of courtroom service. I often get asked as I've been campaigning, what does the clerk of court do? Most people only associate the clerk's office with the juror summons, but it's much more than that. We process legal actions, we have the docket maintenance and record maintenance, and we also collect money. A lot of money. For 32 years, you have had one clerk of court. And like many of you, I feel it is time for a change. The clerk of court's office is still run like it's the 1990s. We still operate in paper files, and there are no backups for those paper files. The records are maintained in a warehouse in Moncks Corner, and what the warder has not damaged, the rats eaten, the rat droppings have damaged, and it has been rumored that those records, those documents, your records, had ultimately to be disposed of. As your clerk of court, I will work to modernize the clerk's office. As a result of this, the wait times for cases to be heard will speed up, and this will be for the protection of your family. If elected, I will hire a forensic audit firm to forensically audit every account and book that we have in the clerk's office to clear up any rumor of any accounting indiscretions. I feel this is necessary to have transparency in the clerk's office. I would like to ask you, do you feel that the present clerk has been working in your best interest? You and I together can make the necessary change for Berkeley County to give the people the clerk's office that they deserve. My name is Leah Guerry Dupree. I am running for the Berkeley County Clerk of Court, and I would appreciate your vote on June the 10th. God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Leah. All right, let's go to the county supervisor's race, and I'm going to let our incumbent go first. Dan, you're up.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming out this evening, and a special thanks to the Cane Bay Exchange Club for hosting this. I am a long-term member of the Hanahan Exchange Club. I've been a member since 1980 and have served as president for 2 terms. And we were always very involved in civic affairs, and I commend you for doing this and involving yourself in civic affairs. It's a very important function. I'm just going to start out this evening just to respond to some, actually a mailer today. This has been a fairly clean campaign, and I appreciate my opponents for doing so. For the most part, we talk about what we will do, each candidate will do, and not what we, not criticize the other candidate. But today, Mr. Peagler sent out a mailer, and he had a few criticisms, and I thought I'd just go ahead and take the opportunity to address those. One dealt with the budget increase. He says that we had a $3 million budget increase last year. You know, I just want to point out to you, when you read this mailer, there was a budget increase, but this was not the budget that I proposed. This was a budget the council passed. They pretty much sliced and diced my budget and approved a different one. So that's their budget, and I don't take credit for it. The other thing is a long-standing rumor about the jail in Berkeley County and the fact that we haven't opened some of the floors. Well, the reason for that was actually planned. When I came in office, we were going to build a jail addition, but it wasn't even going to meet the overcrowding that we had. So I worked with council. We approved an extra $7 million to build that jail, so that we would have room for the future. So part of that was planned and is not necessarily a bad thing. And then finally, I just want to make a mention about the American and France issue. We will have the auction on June the 10th. That's coming up, and we expect to get pretty much all of the dollars that they owe. So I just want to clarify those issues. Thank you for
just a minute. Thank you so much, Dan. All right, Jerry Beckley, let's let you go second.
I'm sorry I have to move around. I think a little bit better when I'm moving. My name's Jerry Beckley. I get asked a lot about why are you running, and my answer is very simple. Because I'm not the supervisor and I'm not the mayor. I don't have their baggage. I don't have their obligations. I come into Berkeley County clean. I don't know a favor, and I don't know a friend. For my first day in office, I can get to work for the people of Berkeley County. Now, the supervisor, on his big signs, he's got keeping our county strong. And he's also answered to some of the things. But the facts are, Berkeley County has the highest unemployment rate of 3 counties. We have an underfunded sheriff's department and underfunded EMS. We do have a jail that's been closed, it's a fact, for 2/3 closed for years. We have companies that we have no industrial development in Berkeley County. We have entire sectors of our population in Berkeley County on Daniel Island that don't even feel like they're part of the Berkeley County family. Are we really keeping our county strong? As your supervisor, I'll always lead from the front. You'll never have to pay to listen to the state of the county address. You can sleep better at night knowing that you're safe and that you're protected. And I will go worldwide to look for companies to come here to Berkeley County to grow with us. And if elected, a lot like Leah, I'll have all the books audited by someone who's never audited our books before, just to make sure that everything's good and to clean the slate. Together, you and I, we can make Berkeley County great again. Thank you very much.
And Bill Peagler.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start out by introducing two of my favorite political allies, my mother, Norma Collins, and my wife of 34 years, Neva. Okay? I don't know what kind of baggage I have. I'd like to hear about it. I carry excess baggage on the plane from now and then, but not in politics, okay? I don't know what it means to not owe favors, I don't know what he's talking about, because I don't owe favors to anyone, but I know people, and I make no apologies for that. And that has brought in over $1 million in the last 3 months to Monk's Corner. I've changed state law by the people I know. I've done whatever's been best for Monk's Corner, and that can also apply to the county. I haven't raised taxes in the almost 10 years that I've been there. We have a transparent budget, and we have the opportunity for people to be part of it. I invited a lady last meeting to come and be part of our police budget because she had concerns. I am frugal with your tax dollar because it's my tax dollar too. I want to do what's right for Berkeley County. I bring a prosperous and successful town record into this election. I've been a steward of tax dollars, and I just like helping people. That's what I want to do. I want to work with you for your county. Berkeley County is my priority. Berkeley County is the place I love. I was born in Berkeley County. I intend to die in Berkeley County unless somebody runs me out. And ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to working with each of you in the coming years. Thank you so much. I'm William Peagler.
Okay, that concludes our county supervisor for their opening statements. We'll now move on to the office of sheriff. I'm going to let Matt Smoak, you get to go first.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank everybody to Exchange Club for inviting me out here. Appreciate all you for showing up and taking an interest in the issues we have in Berkeley County. I'm Matt Smoak. I'm running for Berkeley County Sheriff. I have 17 years in public safety, ranging from fire, police, and even paramedic. What I plan to do in the next 4 years if I'm elected is to bring back accountability to the sheriff's office, bring fiscal responsibility back, and bring the trust back to the community. What I mean by that is I'm going to provide the community in every area of Berkeley County with deputies that don't have deputies there now. Daniel Island, Cross, Bono Beach, all these areas that are suffering to have services that they're not being provided to. I'm going to do that by increasing the manpower, reallocating the manpower, reallocating the zones that the deputies are assigned to right now. Those haven't been touched in many years. I believe the structural, manpower of the structure and the manpower for the department needs to be looked at. From the patrol guys all the way up to the command staff. I believe that the sheriff's office right now is way too top heavy, and that we could utilize more guys on the street, more supervisors being able to make the arrests they need to make to help out their squad. Most of my plans that I can involve will not increase the taxes. I can use the means of grants, federal grant money. And yes, that is a federal tax increase, if you will, but it's over a broader spectrum, so it's not going to affect people as much as a local tax would increase would. My current department I'm at now, we've actually utilized grants through over the past 8 years, and we have increased our manpower from 300 officers almost to 500. Again, my name is Matt Smoak, and I'm running for Berkeley County Sheriff. Appreciate your vote June 10th.
I got something in my microphone, so I think you guys get some of that.
You did that on purpose.
I did. It's got a little thing at the bottom that spins on you and throws you off. All right, I'm just going to talk loud. We're going to introduce Brian Adams, next candidate for sheriff. I'll figure this out while I can talk about it.
Not a problem, Jeff. I want to thank everybody. It's a good evening this afternoon. I don't know about y'all, but I have been enjoying the summer. I cannot stand the winter. I am a very cold-blooded person. I do not like the winter. But I want to thank you very much and tell you a little bit about myself. I have been in law enforcement going on 23 years. I have started my public safety career inside of fire departments. I volunteered at the fire department, worked my way into EMS. As soon as I hit 21, my drive was police and law enforcement. I jumped right into it, started at Goose Creek. Stayed there for about 3.5 years. I went from there and I went to the city of North Charleston, where I remain to this day. I've worked my way up to a lieutenant position where I'm over the special sections unit. which includes the narcotics, the street crimes unit, as well as the fugitive task force. I've been through detectives, I've gone through there, and I've been through several trainings involving investigations, leadership classes, and today I'm a member, I serve the board of Law Enforcement Coordinating Committee, which is out of Columbia. I am an instructor for the drug commanders as well in the state, so once a year I go to Columbia and we pull in drug commanders from around the state. The department actually has to do a resume for these officers, and we sit down and look at them when we select them and bring them in. And I'm an instructor for that. That's a little bit about my career. I've also, my wife and I, we grew up in the area. We went to Stratford High School. We graduated from there, and we have 4 children today. We actually have a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 2 14-year-olds who just had their birthday, so we're excited about that. So, but I appreciate this opportunity to come here and talk to y'all, and I'm looking forward to serving everybody. Thank you very much.
I did figure out the microphone when I was on the break. All right, we're going to try to mix things up a little bit. Now we're in the meat of the session tonight. Each candidate has 4 minutes to respond to this question, which is, if elected or re-elected, what will you do over the next 4 years to improve this community? Now, in an effort to mix things up a little bit, let's jump to the county supervisor race. And Jerry, I'm going to let you go first to answer that question. You got 4 minutes.
If elected, there's a few things that I think need to happen. As I said, I think that we need to fund the Sheriff's Department and EMS. And we also need industrial development in Berkeley County. Now, if you look at the amount of public safety that we have out there, you've seen them. We have automobiles that are old. We have ambulances that are old. We've actually had conservative members of council actually have to go against the supervisor to get new equipment for these people. And I don't think that's right. Industrial development, we need some in Berkeley County. Do you know that Colleton County has a lower unemployment rate than Berkeley County does? Isn't that amazing? Just read that last week. As supervisor, I will put an economic development team together to go worldwide to look for companies that want to come to Berkeley County and grow. Because that's what we need. Now, the jobs that we've gotten, and I'm sure the supervisor will tell you here in a moment, are all with Benefit Focus, for an example, is an existing company that's already been here. But nothing new. Matter of fact, a plant on Bushy Park just closed. 315, I believe, were just let go. We have got to make a concerted effort to work together. Everyone understands that council is split. You got liberals on one side, you got conservatives on the other. But either way, we've got to come together and work. Now, I'm a conservative Republican, and I will always be a conservative Republican. So I will not go against my principles, but I will negotiate, but I won't sell the farm. I think that what we need to do, no matter who the sheriff is, we need to work together to ensure that they have the proper equipment. I've actually talked to deputies that the bulletproof vests that they're wearing are 11 years old. Some of them 7, and they're out of warranty. Doesn't that scare anybody else? So that's what I think that we should do. We have a lot of focusing that we need to do in Berkeley County. And I hope on June 10th that you'll give me the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Bill Peagler, would you come up and entertain us next?
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I, like Mr. Beckley, want to improve the Sheriff's Department. How many of you know that the town of Moncks Corner has given 11 cars to the police department or to the Sheriff's Department? Anybody know that? Yeah, there's a few hands out there. That's because we buy so many cars per year. Well, as a result of that, our budget for maintenance shrunk. So we are now paying for cars with maintenance money. Makes sense to me. What we do is we only buy for the sheriff's department, and then we'll distribute cars to the others out of the cars that are in best shape for other people, that, department heads or elected officials, so that they are in a vehicle that's already paid for and one that we are keeping in good shape so that they don't drive them as hard as the police department. We have to open the jail. As a self-employed businessman, I'm an attorney also. If anyone had gotten hurt in that jail while those other 2 floors weren't open, that would take you out of what is called Tort Claims Act protection and open the county up for civil liability big time. We've got to open that up. We've got to use these fire stations as substations for our police, sheriff's department. Sorry, I'm a police person because I'm a mayor. And, that way we'll have a presence in the county instead of having a 45-minute delay period getting back and forth, and that's the reality right now. And it may be that presence there will deter people and keeping you safer. We have to look out for the employees. The employees have had only one raise in the past many years, and that was 3%, and the cost of their insurance went up 3.5%. You have a serious morale problem with the county employees. I had one today complaining to me about how bad morale was. We've got to look out for you on the fire level too, because right now we're currently in a situation where ISO ratings are going to be going up because of different tests, and we have to work to fund the county fire departments, fire departments because they're volunteer fire departments. So we've got to work with them. Those guys have used their lives, and for many, many years they've sacrificed for you. I would suggest that we look at putting fully manned fire stations in certain logistical areas so that they can respond to fires, because we have a situation in Moncks Corner that mimics that scenario. Moncks Corner has a 24/7, 365 fire department. We have an agreement, what's called automatic aid, with Whitesville Rural Fire Department. As a result, we respond to all of their fires. We get there first because we're manned first. They come in and they set up and you take over the fire. Chief Tim Stevenson of the Whitesville Rural Fire Department informs me that we have more people and equipment on site in Charleston City. What does that mean? That means better protection for you. It means a lower ISO rating. We have to look out for you, not only by police, but by fire, and we also have to have ambulances. I don't want to lose my golden hour going to the hospital broken down side the road. That just doesn't work for me, and I'm sure it doesn't work for you. As far as industrial development, we need to market that. The industrial development has been lacking sorely since the days of Mr. Roger, and that's unfortunate. But we need to work with council. That's one of the main things we really have to do. Is that 1 minute or
10 seconds.
10 seconds, oh gosh. All right, sorry about that, I was getting carried away, but ladies and gentlemen, suffice to say that I will be frugal with your tax dollars, and I will certainly want to work with you and work for you, and my door will always be open. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Good start. The two means 20 seconds, because you don't have 20 fingers. 2 means 20 seconds, 1 means 10 seconds, and this is 0. All right, I'm going to let our incumbent go last in this segment, so Dan Davis.
This time it feels a little better because we have 4 minutes instead of 2, and I do have a little extra time, so I want to introduce my wife, who's Mary Davis, who's down here, and if I'm lucky enough to live till September the 4th, I got the date right, we will be married 43 years, so I sometimes had trouble remembering all that, but I think I got it right tonight. In response to what was said earlier, listen, we want all those things. I want all those things that each of my challengers have talked about. I'd love to have brand new police cars for every officer that works in the sheriff's department, brand new ambulances for the EMS department, like for all of our employees to make very, very good wages because they work very hard for us. All those things that they talked about, I'd like to have them as well. Unfortunately, I've been in the office while these two have been sitting on the sidelines, and I've had to deal with a recession and limited funds, and a public who does not want tax increases. And I think if I got a show of hands, there's not a single person in here who would want, there's not a single person in here who would want a tax increase or even agree with that. So we've really struggled over the past couple of years with our budgets. We are actually, for the majority of that time, we have been operating with less money. Our budgets have gotten lower and lower every year because our revenues were lower. And so, you know, we had to make sacrifices. Everybody made sacrifices. And but guess what? We made it through it. We're now kind of on the other side, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel. And some of these problems that they've addressed, they'll be solved. And those are going to be good days. I look forward to that. But the question that I'm really supposed to answer is, well, what do I plan to do going forward if I'm reelected as supervisor? And I want to talk about three things. One, the first is finances, which I just kind of addressed. We have been in a recession. Our finances have been strained, and we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. But guess what? We have, during this recession, we have improved our debt situation. We've reduced our debt ratio from something like 65% to 45%. We have increased our fund balances, which is our savings account. We've done all that and put the county in a better financial situation. I think we're in pretty good shape now. I don't know that we really need to improve on it, but we're certainly not going to go backwards. Economic development, I don't know where these figures come from that everybody's quoting, but let me tell you something. I think you all read the paper. In the last 6 months, we have added 2,325 new jobs to Berkeley County. The benefit focus down on Daniel Island and the Palmetto Physicians Health Group, both of these companies are under construction. I was with the governor just the other day. She said the state has created 6,000 new jobs in South Carolina last year. Well, guess what? We make up 2,300 of those. I think that's a pretty good record. Then finally, you know, the last thing, and it's certainly not all of it, but our road situation and our penny sales tax program. You know, we came to the public and we asked you to vote for that, and we said that we were going to fix the roads, and we were going to make progress towards a better road system in Berkeley County, and we have done that. There's not a single individual who can say that we've not done what we promised to do. So, you know, for once, you know, at least the government has said, if you do this, we will do that. And I think we have responded very well to that. I want to continue that. We need those good roads for economic development and for our citizens. And those are my three programs that I want to work on, in addition to everything else, over the next 4 years. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, you get to go last in this segment, Leah. Let's go to our sheriff candidates. Brian Adams is up first.
Thank you. What I want to address is the community. That's one of the main things we want to get back to. One of my beliefs is we need to get more deputies on the road. We need to provide a service for the community. That's our first line of defense against reducing crime and to be there for who lives in the county. Who lives in our communities? Our community is the biggest part of our county. The best way of doing that is, let's get some of the top-heavy positions, redundant positions where lieutenants are sitting, where civilians could be sitting, and let's move those sworn law enforcement positions back to the road. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's get them out there for y'all, for me, for the kids that are walking in the roads and playing in the roads to drive the car slower. Let's get out there for them. Let's make sure we build a communication between the sheriff's office and the community liaison. Let's get an officer in those communities. We have big communities out there between Cane Bay, Crowfield, Guerry, all these different huge communities. Let's build a liaison between the sheriff's office and them. Let's get somebody in place, not just for them, but let's make that the sheriff officer deputy a connection to the council member that's in that district as well. This is something that we worked in North Charleston. It has worked great. This is something that's been done in Columbia and other agencies we've gone to. We need to take some of these ideas from other areas and bring them to us. There's nothing wrong with borrowing ideas, making it fit to the county, and provide a better service for all of us. What that officer or deputy can do then at that point in time, you're going in the neighborhood, you see this deputy, you wave at him, he waves at you, and you flag him down, you say, hey, down the street, little Joey, he's always out on the road. Now let me make sure you understand. Police officers and deputies are not always for enforcement. It's not about that all the time. It's about when your car is broken down. Little Johnny's playing in the road. Let's put the deputies in there to help out with these things. Somebody complaining about, he's depressed, she's depressed, she needs somebody to talk to. As an officer, she flags down. Let's make sure they're there. That deputy then can call the victim advocate, a counselor, somebody to help out. Then let's say little Johnny's in the road and they don't see a deputy. They call their council member. The council member now has a direct link to the sheriff's office without calling 911, without going to a lieutenant or a captain or something. He's got a direct link. Say, hey, Deputy Joe, can you do me a favor? They're complaining about some speeders down here. You got little Johnny who constantly playing in the road. Can you do something? I sure can. I go there. The deputy knocks on the door. Hey, your son is always in the road. We need to make sure. That is a direct connection, a direct link with the community. It's not a phone call. It's not a recording. It's not somebody sitting behind the desk saying, I'll do a report over the phone. That's not going to do nothing for us. Let's get back into the communities and work with them. Another thing I want to do, once we get that relationship built, we start looking at different areas. Use crime analysis. Let's make sure we redraw the zones. The zones have not been drawn for over 30 years. Let's get back in there. Let's redistribute the deputies where they are needed. The growth has changed in Berkeley County. Why have the zones not changed? Let's change it. Let's put more deputies where they belong. It's important we get the deputies where they need to be. Once they get in there, let's build a neighborhood resource program. Continue that relationship. Don't continue it and then move on somewhere else. We want to keep building on our relationship, keep growing it. Not only do we do that, let me tell you something else we do. Ooh, that was quick. We can get in there and we can work on building a elderly list. So if the ice storm comes, a hurricane comes, something like that, we can get them and we can go check on them at certain times. Okay? I appreciate your time and effort, and I look for your support coming June 10th. Thank you very much.
Very good. Our second candidate for sheriff is Matt Smoak.
I got mixed up with our 2 minutes and 4 minutes thing, so I am married to my wife, been married on this June 9th will be 13 years right before the primary, so that's good news for the primary as well. I also have 3 beautiful little girls. I can be biased about that. I'm allowed to. I'm add on to what Brian said. We're both real big about getting deputies more involved with the community. As he says, he's worked with Charleston. I work City of Charleston. Our department has done that as well, and it has worked wonders. We have gotten such a great turnabout with the community and involvement with us, and they can flag us over. And like he said, hey, we've got a problem in this area. Now we've got an exact representation from that department to start getting those changes made and allocated. Another thing that I want to start focusing on is safety. I look at my kids playing in the yard. I'm shooting basketball for all this door today. I want her to grow up in the safest county possible, and I'm pretty certain everybody else out here wants that for their kids and their family as well. In order to do that, we've got to get those deputies on the road. We've got to get the jail open. We've got to get the zones rescheduled. Also want to work on decreasing our fatality statistics in Berkeley County. The fatality rates are gradually going up and the collisions are going up. And that leads to me that the enforcement is not there. We need to actually be doing more proactive enforcement for traffic control. I want to say 2013, Charleston, Berkeley County made 94, 95 DUI arrests. Charleston County had 298, and that blew my mind away. I believe the deputies should start working collisions within Berkeley County. Don't always rely on highway patrol to do that. Every officer that comes graduate from the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy is certified to work a collision. Maybe not up to the fatality collisions, but we can actually provide those trainings. I don't really understand why we have to pawn off issues in Berkeley County to another agency. I've actually pulled up on a wreck with a Berkeley County deputy shortly behind me, and he asked if I was going to work the wreck. I said, no, this is not my jurisdiction. I sat there and talked with him for a little while. He didn't know who I was, didn't know what I was doing. We waited on scene for 45 minutes for highway patrol to get there to work that accident. That's uncalled for. In that 45 minutes, we could have already had that accident worked. We had the accident out the roadway, luckily, but he could have already had that accident worked and those people put back on the road. I really believe that the The enforcement levels need to increase within Berkeley County to reduce the violent crime. You can look at the statistics, wherever the crime rates are up and the collisions are up, you send your officers and deputies to those areas to start combating those issues. The more enforcement you do, the more likelihood that your violent crime and your other collisions and stuff like that is going to decrease. Also, like I said, mentioned earlier about bringing back accountability. The sheriff's office needs to have more accountability on them. It seems a lot of I've asked for this and I've asked for that. I'm not getting this money. I'm not getting these deputies, and there's always a finger pointing. There has to be some kind of personal accountability for that. What are we doing to get those deputies out there? I'm losing my train of thought. I apologize. These lights are blinding me. I appreciate your vote June 10th. Thank you. My name is Smoak.
All right, Leah Dupree is our candidate for clerk of court. Leah, it's all yours.
Thank you. I feel like my issues are a little bit lighter than the gentleman's. It's quite narrow, but as I was listening to the question, the first thing that came to mind was, can I sum it up in one word? And when I say it in one word, I'm not being disrespectful to Ms. Brown or trying to be unkind to her, and I'm certainly not trying to be unkind to the staff, because there's a wonderful group of girls and guys down there, and they work hard. But if I had to sum this up in one word, I would have to say professionalism. Because the professional is on top of everything. You know what's there, you know what's not there, you know where you need to trim the fat, what you need to bring in, how to handle the situation. You need to be present so you're aware of what's going on. You need to understand where your money's going, where if too much money is going here, not enough is going here. Is the courtroom flowing? Is it operating like it's supposed to be? We don't have audio in some of our courtrooms. That's pretty difficult when a witness is on the stand and you have a juror, or either you have a witness that can't hear, you have several lawyers involved in it. We have several courtrooms that do not have audio, but yet we installed an audio system that ties back into the security camera so that the staff and the incumbent can hear what's going on in the various community areas. I don't feel that's appropriate for a courtroom or the court easier. Instead of working harder, we need to work smarter. E-filings, e-accounts, everything with technology, applying it, implementing, using it on a daily basis to free up the workers so that they can help the clients, the litigants, the lawyers, the people that come in that need our help. You don't come to the courthouse for fun. You come to the courthouse because you have an issue and you need someone there to help you resolve that issue. You expect a professional. You don't go to a podiatrist when you have a toothache. You don't go to a cardiologist when you have an ingrown toenail. You come to the place where the profession is there, the professionals are there, and that they can assist you. Thank you. I'm Leah Dupree, running for the Berkeley County Clerk of Court. I would appreciate your vote on June the 10th.
Thank you, Leah. Okay. Leah is now playing. Everybody has to answer 4 minutes, right? Didn't leave anybody out. Just want to be sure. Sometimes I can lose track too. We're into the last segment now, which is the closing statement. So I think I have jumbled everything back up again. We'll see how well I do at the end. But we're going to do our sheriff's race first for the closing. And Matt, you can go first. Probably feel like you just sat down, but you get to go first.
We get 2 minutes or a minute for this? 2 minutes, okay. Like I said, there's a lot of changes that need to be made within Berkeley County, with the community involvement, with the community involvement, with the sheriff's department, with the community. I believe that all of us working together, we can actually make the goals that need to happen faster and happen safely. The last thing I want to do is have one of the deputies that work for me get injured, get shot or killed, or injured on the job. No supervisor wants that for either employees. We need to help get their equipment better on the streets, better cars. The vest, that needs to be looked at. And like I said, the reallocation of manpower so we can actually devote the deputies to where they need to get to faster, so their response times are quicker, so they're responding to you guys when you guys are having your emergency faster and safely. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done within the next 4 years, and it can't be done by one individual person. It has to be done by the entire county, and we have to have the county support as well as the sheriff's department supporting the county. So I appreciate everybody's vote for June 10th for Matt Smoak. I'm Matt Smoak running for Berkeley Sheriff, and I thank you.
Brian Adams is our second candidate for sheriff.
Thank you. A lot of people have been asking me, how do you plan on paying for some of these things you bring up, like more deputies on the road? The deputies are there. We just have to reallocate them. Let's move them. How about the cars? They have cars. Matter of fact, they have cars that are assigned to LE3s who do not meet the state qualification to be driving a cruiser with lights and radios in it. They drive them. Not only do they drive them home and to work, they drive them as their personal cars. They drive them around. They just spent $18,000 in our fuel. We pay for that, for them to drive around for just 12 LE3s. Now there's a secretary that drives a vehicle, personal use. This is waste. Wasted money for positions that should not be driving cars. Let's take that money and let's start saving it. Let's start applying it to where it needs to be applied. Overtime has gone up tremendously over the last 10 years for mandatory overtime at the detention center. Okay? We have to figure out ways to keep people in there, change the morale, change the atmosphere, keep the employees and detention officers in there so there is no more mandatory overtime. Not only is mandatory overtime that's gone up to $1.2 million, but it's under a Chinese overtime pay or flex pay. We need to change that to time and a half. It's fair. It's got to be fair to them. You don't want these people to quit and leave when you just got done training them. They had 6 leave just last week. We're constant. It's a constant rotation. That costs money. We need to get back to saving some money and moving it back. We got cell phones almost issued to a lot of employees. Cost us $131,000 a year. That's the quickest 2 minutes. I never remember 2 minutes taking that long. That fast. But I do appreciate it, and I appreciate your support. June 10th, Brian Adams from Berkeley County Sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Dupree, you get to go right in the middle this time.
Thank you. I'd like to say I'm a court reporter by trade. I have a business degree. I have worked in 40 of the 46 counties. I've been able to extrapolate other office procedures from other clerks of courts. I've sat down and had conversations about them, what Berkeley County has to offer and what we do not have to offer in comparison to them. I've learned a lot over the years. I've worked over 20 years. I've worked in circuit court and family court. I've also worked for the Court of Appeals before they had an assigned reporter for them. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of work history. I worked for the records department for Lexington Medical Hospital when I was in school, in college in Columbia, in the records department. I know how to manage a records department. I am a professional record keeper, and I ask for your vote on June the 10th.
Our candidate for clerk. We've now moved to our county supervisor candidates, and I think that Bill Peagler, you get to go first in this segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am a basketball coach and I like to build teams. I built a team in the town, and the way I did that is I worked with the departments. We have problems in the county. Cypress Gardens will have a $95,000 loss projected for 2015. The county fund balances will be 23% of the budget. So there's on June 30th. They have a gas fee obligation has not been met with $2.1 million of accumulated debt. The auditor now recommends a $20 million fund balance with 2 months cash flow. There's no current increase for tax employees. $356,000 would be to implement tax increases for employees not counting the sheriff's department, $1.2 million together. The jail has a high turnover rate. We need to work with the sheriff's department, whoever's there, to see what we can do to improve this situation. Social media, they want to start a wellness center, which is good. They want to pay less for unemployment, and Supervisor Davis is reckoning $1.8 million from fund balance to balance the budget. $270,000 has been spent to pay annual leave for folks that were leaving the county, so we need to keep our employees. And, you know, there is some sort of demon bug in the budget reports, and they're not accurate. So we need to work with computers. We need to work with Daniel Island. We need to make them part of the county. That's why they wanted to leave. I build relationships. I work with people. I want to work with you. I got you. And my name is Bill Peagler. I hope you'll vote for me on June 10th. Thank you very much.
Dan Davis is next.
Well, again, a lot of the discussion tonight by my opponents has been about what I have done wrong and what I need to improve. And I really don't want to get into talking about them and maybe their shortcomings. But I just want to remind you the county is a over $100 million operation a year. And when the recession started just a few years ago, we were in some pretty dire straits. But I took my job or my calling and my election to supervisor very seriously, and I felt like one of my responsibilities was to you, the citizens and the taxpayer, that you elected me not to do good things in good times only, but also to manage the county in bad times. And we, quite honestly, have been in some rough times. We are very fortunate that we have not had to raise taxes to meet some of these obligations that my opponents say they would do. And trust me, as I hear about getting all these cars and people and all this, the dollars just add up in my head, because that's the way I see it. You just can't do those things without extra dollars, and there are no extra dollars. So, you know, I take that seriously. I feel like that my role as supervisor is to watch out for your tax dollars, in addition to making sure that what we spend wisely, and I feel like I've done that. I want to make a couple of final comments about Daniel Island. You know, first of all, I was at every Daniel Island committee meeting that they had. I don't remember my opponents being there, and we worked through that with good success. And I see that my time's out, so I won't get to my other issue. But anyway, maybe another day. Thank you, and my name's Dan Davis, and I would appreciate your vote on June the 10th for supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Beckley is next.
I get to the last. Let me ask yourself a question. I want you to ask yourselves a question. So you have a mayor that's been in politics for 20 years. You have a supervisor running his third term. We had the previous supervisor who was there for 16 years. If you add up those numbers, it's about 28 years under the management of two people. Correct? Math's right. I'm the only one here that's pledged to you a 2-term limit on myself. Because I don't think the supervisor's job is a permanent job for anyone. Yes, we do have a lot of work to do. And good conservative values, I believe, can lead the day. Daniel Island, I was on Daniel Island. I was actually there with Bill at Bishop England High School when they started this. I didn't see the supervisor there. They were looking for it. These are the kinds of things in leadership you can either lead or not lead. And as your supervisor, I will always lead from the front. My office will be so transparent, it'll whistle. Because it's your money. It's not theirs. And I've done a little math. So if we are the 35th in the nation, first in the state, we've increased our population by 30,000 people. They're not living here for free. Where's the money at? The numbers aren't adding up. It's just not adding up. And as your supervisor, you can call my office anytime, and a member of my staff will get with you. You can call me, and I'll answer. I'm Jerry Beckley. I'm running for Berkeley County Supervisor, and June 10th, like everybody knows, is the primary. Thank you very much.
Jerry Beckley. Okay, before we close this segment out, I just want to make this statement. I did hear your name mentioned by both of the challengers to this position. So Dan, if you would like to take your minute in response, I'm going to give you the floor to do that if you would like. 1 minute, Sal?
Just to kind of clarify a couple of things, and one thing that Mr. Beckley just said regarding Daniel Island. You know, it's one thing, when they started having their meetings, the Daniel Island Neighborhood Association was having the meetings, and I wasn't asked to attend. And in my position, I think you can kind of understand that I probably should not go where I'm not invited. They were not running for supervisor at the time, and so they were available to go. When the commission meeting started, I was then invited by the commission to attend, and I attended all those meetings. So I just want to clear that up. And again, with regards to the American France situation, you know, we are having the auction on June the 10th, June the 9th. I'm sorry, June the 11th, the day after the election. And we do expect that we will recover just about all the dollars that American France owes us. So, and some of you may even want to attend and buy something. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, before we give our candidates a round of applause tonight, will you help me in applauding our timekeeper, Sal? I'm sure we have a lot of VIPs and such in the audience who I don't know and don't recognize, but I do want to recognize one, and that's Mary Pearson. She came with me tonight. She is the treasurer for Dorchester County. Came over here to see what was going on with Berkeley County. Now, join me in a huge round of applause for our candidates. I thought they did a great job. They presented their position. They kept it civil. They kept to time pretty much, right to the minute. Some of them got done early. That's very unusual. So join me in congratulating these candidates for showing up. And now I'm turning it over to Michael or to Joe. To everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to be a part of this as well. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank each one of you for coming here, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot. One of the things that we all must think about is this. When the lights are turned off, the doors are shut, and nobody's looking, that's when it really counts. That's what really counts. We can sit up here, dance, talk, and everything else. What counts is when nobody's watching. It's like you look out in your garden, you see that flower that's out there. Hey, that flower. Or you see that son or that daughter graduate down the stage here when they've been studying hard. We want to hold them accountable for what they said they're going to do, not while they're running. If they don't run, they won't be a good team player just as well. Because we still have to live, and that's important. That's really important. But I'd like to introduce my partner, Mr. Blackstone. Some of you know him from Publix. We all know him. Who loves Publix? I love it. I first came here and I said, Publix, oh my gosh. But now I go in there AM and PM. I love it. I buy things. I say, why are you buying it? Because it was on sale. I just love it. Just buy it. They make me want to buy it. And they carry your bag up to the car. I love a piece of gum. Can I carry your bag? So sure. But anyway, I love what we're doing, and I'm going to let Mr. Blackstone, who is the president-elect of the Exchange Club, to say some words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. You came tonight to support your county, your community. I want to thank all the incumbents and the people running for election. Thank you so much for coming. Exchange is about exchanging ideas. These are ideas that were exchanged. We got to turn them into reality. Whoever's elected, we depend on them. Just like public supermarkets depends on the community. Just like you depend on your family members, your neighbors, your neighborhood. This is a brand new community in our area. And we're just on a small level of what we're going to see. Exchange is about exchanging. We're asking you, as a community member, to take this time to invite you to join the Exchange Club. Exchange Club, you may not know, over 111 years, started with an aviation background to help people. It's all about helping people tonight in your community. Just like it is when you wake up in the morning and you lend a hand to somebody, or you do something during the day that wasn't planned. It's the most rewarding thing that you do before you go to bed at night. It comes as a surprise to all of us at times. I want to thank each of you for coming, for taking your time. Thank you for supporting Exchange, and we are so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Again, on behalf of the Exchange Club, I want to thank, my name is Chuck Taylor, for those of you who don't know me. I'm on the board here at the Exchange Club of Cane Bay, and I want to thank all the candidates for showing up. It's been an interesting race so far, and we've got about 7 more days, and we'll know what the conclusion is. So thank all of you for showing up, and just take some time and meet the candidates. I think they're going to hang around and greet everybody afterwards. Thank you again.
All the officers with Cane Bay, Exchange Club, please stand, please. I want you to see faces. It's funny, my manager, the youngest guy here, he don't even understand, from Boeing Aerospace Corporation, and we all know, Boeing is here. That's what brought me here. I know you heard the background individual. I've been with Boeing for 34 years. I have 3 degrees, 1 patent. I have started 2 businesses. I have 50 youth that I'm mentoring. I'm an officer at my church. I'm also an advisor. I'm constantly wanting to help the community. I love what I do. If you don't love what you do, then it's going to show. But if you don't have the results, I can show you the results. I have youth. They're walking across this floor here. We have one youth that we are mentoring. He was the president of his freshman class. He was president of his sophomore class. He's president of his junior class. He's number 13 in this building right now. He said, it's not challenging enough. All I did was take the time out and talk to him. Mr. Blackstone hired him, and he's one of his top workers. We're hiring youth. We're finding jobs for teens. That's what the exchange is about, helping, exchanging information. If your candidates don't walk the talk, it's like your shoes. You know if you're doing it when you got your shoes on, your feet talk to you, say, don't, your feet hurt. We got to walk and we have to talk. And if you see somebody that's not walking, when the light's out, think twice. Thank you, and God bless.